So 8b recalls a previous lesson. As you can see, we drew the rainbow snake once previously, which is coded here, and we can go ahead and run the code to see it's really very much like the one we did previously. The dots are always connected, but they appear in a different position on the screen every single time. So they want us to do some different things here. They want us to animate this one using the draw loop, and notice different than the one we did previously, there's actually a snake head that exists now in the animations that they want us to go ahead and add. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what the name of that is, and we can see that sprite is named head. So we'll go ahead and make that sprite by using the variable sprite block and the sprite.set animation block. Yes, you can just leave that one as sprite. We don't really have any others, so it's fine. And we can go ahead and run it with that piece of code to see that was largely unsuccessful because of two reasons that I'm sure you've guessed, and if you just saw me scroll down the code, you had me verify it. There is no draw sprites block. That is the first sprite. Everything else that was drawn there was done with a shape command, an ellipse command. So we do need to add draw sprites at this time. So we'll grab that from the world block. We still may not have a lot of success though, because positioning wise this probably isn't going to be too good either. So 200, 200, remember, is the center of the screen. Well, the snake head is clearly off to the left here, so let's go ahead and adjust that to go to the left as in the model. It looks like that head should be around 66, 197 or somewhere over in this area. So we'll go ahead and just type that in to see if that makes an impact. Now, if you're still failing miserably, notice there is another mistake here, and you probably are because you're pressing reset going, it should be there, it should be there. Well, notice where the background is drawn. The background is drawn down here. Well, remember, the code runs in order, so it does this, and then it says, hey, I got to draw the background. Well, that doesn't work. The background's got to be drawn before we make that snake head. So move the background way up top underneath frame rate. We can tinker with its location later. But as you can see now, that does solve a problem for us, is that I am getting the snake head, but notice the snake head is quite large. So we probably want to add a .scale block from sprites and scale it down probably quite substantially. I'm going to try 2/10. And again, if you're trying to avoid that error, use something like 0.2 instead of 0.2. And now it looks a little bit better. Notice we do have another issue there, but that's caused by order, which we'll address in a moment. So the snake head, because of the concept of layering, because we're drawing the head first and then we're drawing all the different orbs of the snake starting with the red, that's why we're having a layering issue here. So that code that we use to create the snake's head actually needs to be pushed underneath all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to text mode and copy all of that stuff out that we just wrote and cut it and paste it at the bottom, and hopefully that will fix our prevalent issue of the moment. And indeed, you can see the snake head now is on top, which is good. However, the snake head is not actually random at the moment. So if we wanted to mimic what we've done here, I'll go back to block mode, and I'm going to go ahead and change that X value into this random number statement of 192.10 that we have used for each and every single positioning feature there for the X value, or rather the Y value. Okay, and we seem to be having success. Now, the one issue is that notice this motion in the model is constant. Mine is only occurring every time I press the reset button. So we need to now add the draw loop to this question. So since all of these things are occurring constantly, that means they all need to be placed inside the draw loop. So let's go ahead and make the draw loop. And we're going to insert all of that code into the loop. Now, if you don't wish to drag it all in, and I would not blame you, you can go into text mode and copy all of that functional code from the first fill down to the draw sprites command, and I would cut it as well because we're going to have to paste it. So Control C and Control X and then paste it inside of the draw loop. You want to make sure you get between that set of curly braces, preferably on that blank line. And you can go back to block mode if you want to see how it changes. As you can see, that's why I chose not to drag them in line by line, because that would have taken quite a bit of work. And we'll go ahead and rerun our code. And as you can see, we're awfully close, but we have one issue here. We have the smear effect occurring again. We want to fix the smear effect by adding the background command inside the draw loop, preferably first.